Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wrestling Fellas YouTube channel. I am Matt, that is Ted, and we are two-thirds of the Wrestling Fellas. We're not going to lie to you because we like being open and honest on this channel. We've already recorded this. My computer, for some reason, we recorded 3 videos. On one of the videos, it's recorded mine and not theirs voice.
Hmm.
The other video, it's just not recorded any voice. And the video after that is corrupted. So we're doing this again. However,
I I think personally, your computer went. Ted's opinion is that shit and mental.
no.
I've had
To
enough.
to be fair, we went for the same round about the same shit. Don't think you can go wrong in NXT. But this is NXT end of year review. Now I did one last year, but I did obviously by myself because Ted wasn't part of the channel and John doesn't watch NXT. So I did it all by myself because I thought NXT deserved a bit of love because it never does. It never does get the love anymore because it's not black and gold. However, I do think it's slowly getting there, just without all the big names from the indies. Um, Big year for NXT. Big year
I
for
have
NXT.
I have I said this on the last video. I fell out with NXT when it turned to 2.0,
Mm-hmm.
and then gradually this year I have fell so in love with this brand. I would probably say big statement here coming out of Ted's mouth, and this is me taking that step off the fence that people say I sit on a lot. I would probably say NXT is my number two brand at the moment.
Much number one.
Number one, I'd probably say WWE at the moment. Number
First.
two would be NXT. Well, so Raw and SmackDown, so
Yeah.
you get what I mean. Then then NXT, and then AEW would be my third brand, and then
Fair enough.
fourth NJ,
Where's
which is
TNA?
oh oh. Do you want to know something? Big statement yet again. TNA 4 and NJPW 5.
Oh, and that's coming from the New Japan Pro Wrestling correspondent that's not done an update since July.
Yes, and there's a reason for that because it's
Yeah,
been
that's
dreadful.
why it's bottom. Um, yeah, NXT is slowly over the past couple of years, as since Triple H took back hold of it, um, instead of Vince having it and trying to do it as a cheerleader, American football player, create a wrestler suite. And they've literally, Triple H went, nah, that's not what it is. But we're not going to do what we used to do and go out and get every single free agent or independent wrestler, although that's kind of what they're doing with WWE ID now. I'm putting him in NXT, like an Adam Cole or a Drew McIntyre or
Shinsuke,
Finn Balor, Shinsuke, Kevin Owens,
Kenta.
whatever. Um, it's come on leaps and bounds over the past 2 years. Everyone thought that when Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov, um, went up to the main, and Camelo Hayes went up to the main roster, that it'll lose the lore and it'll lose the excitement, but it hasn't. This year has just proved that it's gone stronger. Um,
Two people, well, not even two people. They're a good group. It's like the SmackDown 6. Like a load of them stepped up in one, no, one go. And when all the big players have gone up, but don't panic, we're going to take the ball and
yeah,
we're going to build this brand. So they felt very, no, I don't want to say lucky because I think Triple H has planned for the, Sean especially. I think has planned for this. He knew what he was losing, and he built these people. He built these people to replace and elevate the brand, and I like absolutely stun it. Like top work to him.
yeah,
Massive
man.
respect to Sean.
You look at it, and when Braun Breaker got called up, because we all knew Braun Breaker was going to get called up because he's a Steiner and his physique and the way he was in the ring. He obviously says it all. He's a two-time Intercontinental champion now, and he's one of the main faces on Raw. Ilya Dragunov was a mainstay in NXT UK and then NXT itself. And it was only a matter of time before he got brought up. Gunther got brought up in 2022. Um, obviously that was a big personality they lost there. And the likes of Pete Dunne got brought up, and Tyler Bate got eventually brought up, and people like that, and they were losing people. And then it was, like you said, the big top six kind of that stepped up and went, nah, do you know what? This ain't dying. This ain't a brand that's dying. This is a brand that's going to go places. And that's what they've done. So this video is more about a couple of awards we're going to give out between me and Ted. We're going to come to an agreement. Apart from the MVP, we're going to get you to pick it, but obviously we'll say who our MVPs are, and you guys have to choose for us. And also tell us your picks for each category in there as well. So we'll get on with it because there's a lot to cover. NXT this year, premium live events. I think last year premium live events were a lot better than this year. I felt like last year's premium live events were a lot stronger. And yes, it had Becky Lynch on some of them. It had Dominic Mysterio. It had John Cena and The Undertaker on well, that were on a premium live event, but that was just on when they changed over. But as towards the end of the year, I feel like one division's got stronger with
100%.
the signings of 3 certain women, and then the actual women's roster stepped up itself to say, well, you brought these in, but don't forget about us. The men's roster, they obviously brought in a few TNA people, which we're going to go through soon. And an AEW guy. A couple of AEW guys that stepped up this year. One that's still trying to find himself. But we're going to go through each category. So we're going to do pay-per-view of the year to start off with. Our premium live event, sorry. However, I'm not going to go through the whole card. I'm going to name the women's match and the men's world title. Because just going through the whole card is just, I think that's why it took us an hour and odd yesterday.
Yeah.
So let's start Vengeance Day. Vengeance Day is obviously in February. There's no premium live event in January because they have New Year's Eve on normally the first week of January.
And a big announcement just based on New Year's Eve. Just saying it now. Me and Mateus are going to be there live. It is going to be.
I need to make sure I'm off for the 8th.
Okay. I'll be there. I'll be there live because I've booked the day.
I need to make sure I'm either on a late or I'm off. I've got the Tuesday off because I always have Tuesdays off. I don't know if I've got the next day off. I won't find out till probably next week. So, but Ted will be live for New Year's Evil. On TikTok, and I was going to do it on YouTube as well, because it's the first week of the big week of Netflix. But Vengeance Day, Ilya Dragunov faced Trick Williams for the NXT title. Ilya Dragunov retained the NXT Championship, and then Roxanne Perez faced Lola Vice and Lyra Valkyria for the women's title in a triple threat match. Stand and Deliver, big pay-per-view of the year, the WrestleMania version of NXT. The main event was Carmelo Hayes versus Trick Williams, and I'm only mentioning that because the main event wasn't the world title. The main event was Carmelo Hayes versus Trick, which Trick won. The NXT Championship match was Ilya Dragunov versus Tony D'Angelo, where everyone thought Tony D'Angelo was going to win. And then the women's title match was Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez. Lyra Valkyria at that point was going up to the main roster.
Yeah.
And so was Ilya and Carmelo. So it was just a matter of time before a couple of nights after on Raw, on NXT, the Lyra got called up. Ilya got called up and lost the NXT title to Trick. And then Carmelo got called up to SmackDown as the first round draft pick.
Yeah, it is.
NXT Battleground, the first one that they moved into a UFC Apex arena. It was poor. The atmosphere was just poor. I remember us watching it as the first one we watched, and I remember us just going, "This atmosphere is awful."
It's because of how it is. It's like that for the thingies. Unfortunately, it's like that for the live UFC shows. The atmosphere is not the same. It's very quiet and reserved. So, yeah, no, I didn't expect anything less to be fair, other than that.
No, me either. Obviously, this was the first pay-per-view as well where TNA got involved. Roxanne Perez faced Jordynne Grace for the NXT Women's Championship. Roxanne Perez obviously won. During the match, Tatum Paxley came out, which was then met by Ash by Elegance, which got no reaction.
Just a confused reaction.
Yeah, just confused why Ash by Elegance came out.
It meant nothing.
Yeah, she weren't even feuding with Jordynne Grace at the time, so it made no sense. And then the main event was Ethan Page, who debuted 2 weeks prior to the pay-per-view to face Trick Williams. Obviously, Ethan Page was in catering for AEW for about 4 years, so didn't really do nothing. Trick won, which we know, but it's set up for the next one, which was Heatwave.
One of my favourite pay-per-views of the year.
Yeah, it was one of our favourites. The main event was Trick versus Javon Evans versus Ethan Page versus Sean Spears. Ethan Page won by pinning Javon Evans, which was a nice way to end it because it kept Trick and Sean Spears strong. Javon Evans, because he's so young, he's only 18. A pinfall ain't going to hurt him. And then the Women's Championship was Roxanne Perez versus Lola Vice. I think that was coming off Lola Vice beating Shayna Baszler at Battleground as well.
I think you're right. If my memory's right.
It was in the UFC arena, where No Mercy was next. Ethan Page defended the NXT Championship against Joe Hendry with special guest Trick Williams. Obviously, Ethan Page won.
Mm-hmm.
We know a couple of weeks after on the debut episode of CW Network, Ethan Page lost the NXT Championship thanks to CM Punk, who was special guest referee, and Trick won the title back, which then played into Halloween Havoc, where you had a Devil's Playground match, which didn't really get used all that much, considering it was a no-holds-barred match. Trick versus Ethan Page, and then Trick obviously retained the championship, and then Ridge Holland attached Trick afterwards. And then Deadline was the end of the year for premium live events for NXT. The main event was for the NXT Championship number one contenders. It was Trick. Sorry, no, it weren't. It was
Women's
Iron
Survivor,
which was Julia, Sol Rucker, Stephanie Vaquer, Ren Sinclair, and Zarya. The men's was Ethan Page, Javon Evans, Nathan Frazier, Wesley, and the returning Obafemi after he lost the North American Championship to Tony D'Angelo a month prior.
Or Ethan Page.
Or 2 months prior, depending on the way you want to call it. Yeah, poor Ethan Page, rest in peace. And the NXT Championship was defended. Trick Williams defeated Ridge Holland. So that was the pay-per-views. Now, I've got all the pay-per-views here. We've already said what your favourite is and my favourite, so I think it's probably going to go down as the favourite for the year and pay-per-view of the year, Heatwave.
Yeah, so it was close between that and Stand and Deliver. Stand and Deliver were really good.
Yeah.
But I'll give Matt this. That pay-per-view was really mint because I think that's one of the best nights pay-per-view wise I've had. It would just be a Matt. We were both vibing that night. It was a really good show, back to front, and we had such a good laugh. Like, me and you came off the stream, and I remember us being buzzing about it. And it's one of my, I'm happy to say this is one of my moments of the year. I'd say one of the happiest times of the year for me.
Oh,
so
that's lovely. It wasn't for me because I was with you.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. Stand and Deliver was great. I feel like the reason Stand and Deliver doesn't get it is because Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams was the main event. I feel like in a main event, your world title goes on last, unless you've got your Undertaker on your card and Shawn Michaels in a match.
Yeah, exactly.
I say that because of WrestleMania 25. We mentioned it yesterday on the main event, which didn't fucking record. But your world title goes on last no matter what. For me, I'm a traditionalist. World title always ends. It's your focal point of your company. Everyone wants to be that champion, and that should be your main event. But the whole event as a whole was great. But I'm with you, Heatwave. It was me and you. I think we saw Future Shock that night. Was it that
Yeah,
night?
yeah.
And we were both knackered, but it was a good show, and it was a laugh, and we really enjoyed it. And the people in the stream on TikTok and YouTube enjoyed it as well. You can't go back and watch that one on YouTube because of copyright. We had to delete it. WWE.
Yep.
But the full card for Heatwave, I'll run through it there quick. Obafemi defeated Wesley for the North American Championship before Wesley turned heel. Kalani Jordan defeated Sol Rucker for the North American Women's Championship. The Supersonic Duo, I hate calling them that. Aitken and Nathan Frazier defeated Chase U. I think a couple of weeks later, Chase U won, and then 2 weeks later, Chase U lost the titles again. Roxanne Perez defeated Lola Vice, and then Ethan Page won the NXT Championship. And I think that was the other reason why we were dead happy as well. Agreed?
Yeah, agreed. It's such a sick show.
Yeah, cool. So Heatwave wins that one. So then they've got a couple more categories we're going to talk about. Return and debut. We had a lot of returns, a lot of debuts, especially from TNA. But we're gonna just run through a few. We're gonna choose our favourite. Stephanie Vaquer debuted. Julia, Ethan Page, Sean Spears returned. Sean Spears and not Ty Dillinger. Rich Holland came back into NXT and made something of himself. Tried to get rid of that stigma of injuring Big E. Cora Jade returned after a year out. Gigi Dolan has returned after some time out. Obafemi returned after a month of being out. Zarya debuted. Joe Hendry debuted. Ash by Elegance returned. For me, favourite, probably Ethan Page.
Ethan Page all day. All day.
Made the most impact out of all of them. But probably Obafemi. It was just won the number one contendership.
Yeah, and launched Ethan Page around that around that little box. Rest in peace.
Yeah. Cool. We move on. Breakout Superstar of the Year. Now, there's a lot of talent on NXT, whether it's the women's, men's, tag teams. Well, I say tag teams. Women's and men's rosters that could be a breakout star next year. I've just got a few here. Fallon Henley, Sol Rucker, Charlie Dempsey, Javon Evans, Rich Holland, Lexus King, Eddie Thorpe, Ren Sinclair, and Taya Hale. Taya Hale, I think, just needs to
drop the.
It sounds like they're bringing Chase U back, but with different people. She doesn't need to be a part of that. Just let her be her and put her with someone as a with a male manager, and let her just do her own thing.
Her and Lexus King wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
No, I agree. Actually, that's a good thought. Eddie Thorpe, obviously, he's got his opportunity on New Year's Evil, as we found out last night. A triple threat match between Obafemi, Eddie Thorpe, and Trick Williams for the NXT Championship.
That match last night was pretty good, you know.
Yeah,
we recorded this. So the original recording was before NXT.
Was NXT on Tuesday.
Yeah, and as we were recording this on the Wednesday, we've had that match. And I've not been a massive fan of Eddie Thorpe, but he impressed me with how much he could go.
Yeah, it was good NXT, to be fair. Ren Sinclair did herself justice at Deadline.
She was the most over person of the night at Deadline.
She was. Bar Trick, she was the most over person. Siobhan Evans, obviously he's had so many opportunities this year. He's faced Randy Orton on the CW network launch, which was cool. Charlie Dempsey, I think, deserves an NXT North American Championship run. So Rucker deserves the women's. Fallon Henley's just won the NXT North American Women's Championship, so she can only get stronger. But I'm going to go for... It's easy to give it Javon Evans.
So that's why I said yesterday that Javon Evans was easy, but
it's
there's one...
a bit of a cheat in there, and so Rucker is a cheat as well, kind of, because she's been on pay-per-views this year non-stop. And she's been in TNA as well.
Interesting one for you.
Go on.
Do we go Eddie Thorpe just based on yesterday?
I was going to say Eddie Thorpe or Ren. If we can pick a men and women's, I'd pick Eddie Thorpe and Ren Sinclair. For me.
I would go Ren Sinclair, yeah, because I was gonna mention Eddie Thorpe just based off of because he had a good. Fair enough, he had a really good match last night, but he has had he is slowly starting to move up the card.
But no, Eddie Thorpe and Sinclair.
Yeah, I'm happy with both of those. Mate.
Worst moment of the year. There's 3. Booker T singing Trick Williams' theme song because I hate it with a passion.
Oh yeah.
Sexy Red.
No.
And CM Punk costing Ethan Page.
So it's quite funny this one because me and Matt yesterday chose one, and then we got halfway through the video, and then we remembered another moment, which hands
the CM
down,
Punk one.
Which is the CM Punk one. And
however, I've got to go with Sexy Red, mate. I've got to go Sexy Red. Why? Why?
Yeah, we said this yesterday. Like,
I get musical thing. You have musical people in wrestling all the time, or WWE wise, you do anyway. Machine Gun Kelly or Kid Rock or Flo Rida or whoever it may be. Sexy Red.
See, for me, right, I was kind of disappointed when Cardi B came out for the SummerSlam one with MetLife, but I would take Cardi B every day of the week over Sexy Red.
Yeah, like
Sexy Red for me doesn't bring anything. She's not
international. Was at SummerSlam. Was that this year?
No, she's next year. No, for the
MetLife. Right, yeah,
the MetLife Stadium.
I don't remember seeing that. Yeah.
The Bianca Belair. No, she's like, oh, Cardi B was that in the. Yeah.
Yes, I remember.
But yeah, it's, for me, Sexy Red is not internationally renowned. I would be very confident of walking around and asking people who they think Sexy Red is, and they will have no idea. I'm quite confident in that. Whereas I can understand for international talent, like you just meant every person you mentioned there is an international, like they're known worldwide. Sexy Red for me, all I've obviously after we saw her in NXT and she was dreadful. I had a look and see what I could see online, and the only thing they brought me back to was some things that I saw on Reddit, which I can't talk about on here. I'd say that's the only thing that I could come up with.
I'll say it. She got into a fight in an airport straight after NXT. Or just before NXT, sorry. And then before NXT, she also did an X-rated video, apparently.
Yeah, on her Instagram by accident. By accident.
Yeah. But why would you want a part of it at all?
They did it twice. It weren't even once.
I know.
They did it twice. Like that's the worst thing. They didn't realize the mistake from the first time round.
I know.
But hey ho, we move on from the negative. We
try to anyway. Moment of the year. There's been a few. Fallon Henley winning the North American Women's Championship. I say that because we all thought it'd be JC Jane.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't. It was Fallon Henley. North American Women's Championship being announced, which then made the ripples for the Women's Intercontinental and the Women's United States. Open Femi returning at Deadline. Wesley turning heel on the Rascals. The TNA and NXT partnership. Jordan Grace returning to NXT. Ethan Page debuting.
Zachary Wentz's finisher and Wesley, just because it's mental.
Joe Hendry appearing in NXT. I'm gonna go Joe Hendry. I feel like it had a bit more.
It's quite funny.
No, it was massive in the wrestling world at the time.
It was funny earlier. After we'd done this video, you told us that it corrupted and things like that. I was sat there, just going, "Do I get a fast tracked cameo from Joe Hendry so we could put it in this spot and say so when we announce him as the moment of the year, it's just have him in a video." But it was £140, and we're not YouTube superstars just yet, so I haven't got money to throw that. But yeah, it's so good. But yeah, it's got to be Joe Hendry. But like, he was so over. Everyone went wild. I remember we were buzzing about him just turning up in that battle royal. It was so cool. It was such a cool moment
Yeah,
to
it
see him
was.
come out, and the fans. I was a little bit worried and tentative at first that it might not translate well, but boy was I wrong. As that guy has had a hell of a run this last 12 months. But yeah, definitely moment of the year.
Yeah, I agree. Um, it was mental because he was so over, and I remember people were like, "Well, it's not gonna work. It won't work. He can't do that singing stuff in NXT," and it proved he can. So, um, match of the year. There's quite a few, so I'll be trying to do them as quick as I can. Joe Hendry versus Ethan Page at No Mercy. Ladder match for the NXT North American Women's Championship. Ladder match for the NXT North American Championship at Stand and Deliver. Pete Dunne and Trick Williams in
Last man standing.
Eh?
Last man standing match.
In Last Man Standing, yeah. Obafemi versus Tony D'Angelo on Tables, Ladders and Scares match. Julia and Stephanie Vecchia versus Roxanne and Cora Jade at Halloween Havoc. The Sonic Duo versus Tavian Heights and Miles Bourne at Deadline. Javon versus Trick versus Ethan versus Sean at Heatwave. Kalani Jordan versus Soul Rucker at Heatwave. Roxanne Perez and Jordan Grace at Battleground. Obafemi versus Joe Coffey versus Wesley at Battleground. Ethan Page and Trick Williams at Battleground. Dijak, Wesley, Josh Briggs at Stand and Deliver. Wesley and Zachary Wentz at No Mercy.
So I'm still happy with the pick.
You still happy with what you pitched yesterday, the Fatal 4-Way?
Yeah, I'm still on the Fatal 4-Way. Just because that match was sick. Because it was just the reaction from me and you. The reaction when Trick hit the knee. He fall, then Trick hits the knee on Ethan. Ethan drops onto Javian, and then gets the pin. Me and Matt were buzzing. It was great. It was just a great match,
sick.
back to front.
It was sick. It was. And it was great for Ethan Page because he deserves it.
He does.
Tag team, it's quite hard to do a tag team because the tag team division is so poor in NXT at the moment. But we got Gallus, we got the Wolf Dogs, which was Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker. Erickson, Nathan Frazier, Good Brothers, OTM, The Family, Chase U, No Quarter Catch Crew. I think it always has to be one. And they retained again last night.
Axiom,
Nathan Frazier, the NXT Tag Team Champions. They just keep on winning. It's doing me in now.
Yeah, I did say yesterday I'd put the War Dogs there, and we chose Fraxium, and it's the same. They have been really good.
Yeah.
The match, me and Matt wish like pray on the demise every time that we live stream NXT, and it's not delivered just yet. But
yeah, there's time. But how many more people can you put them to?
Yeah.
Female Superstar of the Year, we got Roxanne Perez, Kalani Jordan, Lyra Valkyria, Tiffany Stratton, Lola Vice, Jada Parker, and Meacham.
I will scrap like everyone. This lady deserves this. As she's in the best women's division in wrestling right now. She's the top of that division and has been for the last 9 months. 9 months, 8 months? Be 9 months.
9 months.
9 months. So yeah, Roxanne Perez all day for me. There is some honourable, but I think there is arguments for the other people on that list. But for me, Roxanne's been the only thing that lets her down is the promo work. So could be better. But yeah, for me, Roxanne wins NXT Women's Competitor of the women of the year all day.
So I agree with you. There is a lot. There is arguments for each one. Meacham stepped up a game. That's why she was in the finals of the United States Championship Women's Tournament with Chelsea Green. Jada Parker has stepped up massively this year and has improved not just the promo work, but also her in-ring skills are so much better. And I'll put any money that she wins the NXT Women's Championship very soon. Lola Vice, as much as we hated her when she beat Shayna Baszler, she stepped up massively.
I've got to respect how much she steps up. She's gone from shaking her ass, as saying that was all she was known for. As say she has stepped up her game massively and deserves every bit of pundit. Plaudits is the plaudits is the every plaudits that she's getting.
Yeah,
she deserves.
I agree. Tiffany Stratton's on there. I mean, she already opened up the year really, but it's Tiffany Stratton. Same with Live Vicaria.
You know my feelings on Tiffy. It's.
Well, I don't, because you hide them. Because you say anything bad about it. If you say anything naughty, you go, "Oh, Matt, you don't have to say that." But says it off record. It's mental. Kalani Jordan, first ever NXT Women's North American Champion. She's had a massive year. She's improved. She even teamed with Jade and Bianca on NXT the other month.
Yeah, and she fit.
And she fit in well with him. And then Roxanne Perez. It has to be Roxanne because she's held the division down as the champ. I do think that before she goes to the main roster, she needs to do some hard work on her promo work because it is very poor. And it won't go over on the main roster because of how loud the crowds are and how loud the other women are. You come up Roxanne Perez versus Chelsea Green, and Roxanne Perez is speaking as low as she does. She's getting outshone by Chelsea.
Yes, she is.
But no, I agree. Roxanne Perez. Male, we have Tony D'Angelo, Javon Evans, Ilya Dragunov, Ethan Page, Trick Williams, and Oba Femi. There's a shout for every single one of them. As much as we don't like Tony D'Angelo,
he's had a good year.
He's had a good year. He's the North American champion. Beat Oba Femi for one. And is main evented as well.
Mm-hmm.
Faced Ilya Dragunov at Stand and Deliver. Ethan Page, we've already plaudits. We've already given it plaudits for Ethan Page. Ilya Dragunov was the champion all the way up until he got drafted to Raw. Trick Williams is the face of NXT. Javon Evans is young and he's already been in that many matches with that many noticeable people that he'll take over Trick. I'm going to go Trick.
It's got to be Trick all day.
It kills me to say it, because I really want to give it to Ethan Page or Oba Femi. Probably Oba Femi more than anyone, to be fair.
Yeah, same.
But
I think Trick, when things could have gone to... He is one of the six. He is one of the six we mentioned earlier. I'd say he is in that group.
Yeah, he's the face
all
of
day.
it. He's
the face of that group, yeah.
MVP of the year, we've got 5. We've got Ethan Page, Kalani Jordan, Oba Femi, Trick Williams, and Roxanne Perez.
I am still standing firm on my hill that I stand on, of the hill of Roxanne Perez.
So I'm going to go Trick. And now what I'm going to do is explain the reason why I've gone Trick. So I said yesterday when we recorded this, if you take Roxanne Perez out of that women's division, the women's division is fine. There is no issues. You could fill it with Stephanie Vaquer, you could fill it with Julia, Zaria, Kalani, Jada. You've got someone there, Cora. You've got someone there to take over. If you take Trick out of the main roster now, bar Oba Femi, you've got no babyface to take over Trick Williams. Trick Williams is a bigger miss to NXT than Roxanne Perez is. By miles. Mm-hmm. So that is why. And Trick this year, main evented literally
majority of the pay-per-views.
Stand and Deliver and Deadline, he's main evented all of them.
He did main event Stand and Deliver.
No, Stand
and Deliver. He beat Carmel. Balls.
Deadline. What was the other one? Oh no, yeah, it was just Deadline. Deadline was the only one he didn't.
Even more.
Deadline. It was the only one he didn't announce because it was the Iron Survivor for the women's.
And that pack was stacked.
And that's stacked again.
Yeah.
Roxanne wasn't in that pack.
So, for me, the reason Roxanne is my MVP of the year is she could have been forgotten in that division, and she has stood strong, and she has everyone that she's been given to work with since Stand and Deliver, she has smashed the matches out of the park. There's been no, she's had a couple of wobble moments in said matches, but every match has been a banger. So for me, so yeah, fair enough. There is other people that you can take away, but she's been put in that position, and she's ran with that position. She's not let it. Like we say, a promo work needs work, but she's took the ball and she's ran with it, where she quite easily could have fumbled, and she absolutely run it to the house, and she's still running it to the house right now.
So this is where we disagree,
Yeah.
because Julia, Stephanie, and Zarya came in at the end of the year.
Mm.
Roxanne was the top of division since Stand and Deliver. So, like, I know when you said that she stayed above the pack. To be fair, at the start of the year, there wasn't really a pack to stay above of. It was Roxanne Perez, Lara Vacaria, who got moved in April, and Tiffany Stratton, who got moved in April. So since April till September, she stayed above the pack because she is the pack.
Delaney, Soruka.
Nowhere near Roxanne, mate. Nowhere near Roxanne. Nowhere near. So Rucker is nowhere near Roxanne Perez, and neither is Kalani Jordan. I think So Rucker needs to improve on her mic skills. I think Kalani needs to polish off some in-ring skills, not massively because she's amazing.
She's great. Yeah.
But again, promo work with her isn't great. Roxanne Perez all around is great. Her promo skills aren't. But considering she was facing Lola Vice mid-year, Lola Vice ain't on the level of Roxanne Perez.
But she did pull out in a heck of a match with Lola Vice.
No, she didn't. I'm not disputing that. What I'm disputing is you say she was above everyone else. It's because there was no one else to come near her.
Mm-hmm.
So if this was now we were talking about, like right in the last couple of months, then I'd be like, I totally agree with you. She's stayed above Julia, she stayed above Cora, Vakir, Zarya, Jada Parker's come up, and she's not on the level, but she's getting there with a promo. I'd say Jada Parker is probably above Kalani Jordan in terms of promo. Lola Vice, but at the start of the year, mate, there was no Roxanne Perez was the division. She was no way she was going to get lost in that. They weren't going to give the title to Lola or Kalani or Soul or anyone like that because Roxanne was the division. Whereas Trick, they gave it to Ethan Page, and then they dropped it to Ethan Page back to Trick.
Thanks to that bastard CM Punk.
Thanks to that bastard CM Punk. Javon Evans has been in there. Sean Spears has been in there. Who else is it? Eddie Thorpe. I know he's not on the level of Trick Williams. Rich Holland. It's believable that they could beat Trick. Eddie Thorpe, maybe not. Rich, maybe not. But Ethan Page, Sean Spears, at one point we thought he was going to beat him.
Yeah, we did. I remember that.
And we thought it was going to be Ethan and Sean. Do you know what I mean?
Would have been
So, we want you guys in the comment section below. Who is your MVP out of the ones we chose? Is it Trick? I'm trying to get my finger in. There we go. Or is it Roxanne? Is it Ted? Or is it Matt? There's no points on the line or anything like that. Just, we can't come to a conclusion. So, you guys choose. Also in the comment section below, let us know who you choose for each category. NXT has been standout this year. Has been standout this year. It's been great. It's always going to get better. Trick Williams is going to get called up to the main roster, which then pushes over Femi and Ethan Page, because Ethan Page is going on a rampage now and taking people out. But we know now Penta is going to the main roster straight away and not staying in NXT. which I think is I know John doesn't agree. I think it's kind of a bad mistake
So do I.
because he can't speak English.
So my thing with him is I know what Trips is trying to do. Ray Ray is getting old. Well, he is old. Dragon Lee, I don't think's turned out like they wanted him to, and they're panicking that that Hispanic market is there's not really someone to fill it.
I kind of agree, but I also think that Ray is there even when he retires.
Yeah,
So that Hispanic market that they're worried about, I don't think they're worried about because Ray will always be around. He'll always be on Raw, whether it is backstage, road agent, or whether it is a manager for Dragon Lee and Zelina and the rest of the LWO. Plus, you've got Dom
Dom,
as
Dom, Dom.
well. But the only reason I say Penta going to the main roster is probably a bad idea. One, he doesn't speak English, so unless he's coming with Jose, the assistant, or whatever his name was that you mentioned the other week, you and John,
Yeah,
the crowd probably aren't gonna know who he is. And as I say, when you're in the WWE bubble, you don't see anyone else.
no, you don't.
So
It's
these
very
people,
tribalism. Like,
so is AEW.
yeah,
AEW is
yeah, yeah,
very
that's what I mean.
tribalism.
That's what
Every
they're both as
company,
bad as each other.
yeah, every company's tribalism. So like but the difference is AEW's not been around for long. So then people that are now in the AEW bubble will know WWE and what's going on in WWE because they can't get away from it.
Yeah, of course
Whereas
you can.
AEW, you can get away with it. You can get away from AEW. You just go on TikTok. None of my TikTok is AEW. It's all WWE. So,
Of course it is.
yeah, of course it is.
No, no.
WWE, Mark.
Yeah. Why don't you just
But yes,
educate yourself, pal? Like,
well, this is it. I need you to educate myself in different companies, don't I? Guys, let us know in the comment section below your thoughts on NXT this year. Has it been good? Has it been bad? Have you enjoyed it? Have you even watched it? Let us know. Ted will be live definitely on New Year's Evil. I am question mark at the moment, but we will let you know. Don't forget there is no lives for Raw or SmackDown unless there's a TikTok that goes out, or a short. It's Christmas. We're not doing anything over Christmas. This is gonna come out. I did originally have this plan to come out tomorrow, as on Thursday, but I might change it to Sunday. And we'll get this going out tomorrow. So this is going out. This will be out on the 19th of December. So you guys have an amazing Christmas.
yeah,
We hope Santa brings you everything you want. If you're an adult and you're watching, skip this bit for your kids. We hope you get pissed and you enjoy yourselves. Don't fight, but
yeah.
be merry. Eat lots of food, and we hope your partners get what you want. Kids, if you're watching, now you can watch. Hope Santa brings everything you want. You deserve everything. Unless
You
you've
do.
been naughty, then you don't. But no, just Ted, do you want to leave any last leaving comments on next year?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for everybody that's come and got on board with us and made me feel so welcome as part of the fellas. As say, I am a new member of the group this year, well, the trio this year, and you could have said we don't like Ted, we don't want him, and you have made me feel accepted, and thank you so much for that, and thank you for all your guys' support. As I say with the fellas, hopefully when we're getting to this video, we are on 1,000 or with just off 1,000 followers on YouTube. It'd be great to get across that milestone. But yeah, I hope everyone has a great Christmas, Happy New Year, and as I say, we will see you in the new year for Raw. Is the first live Raw on Netflix. But you guys, like I say, like Matt says, no fighting, be merry, have a good laugh, and enjoy yourselves, guys.
Yeah, like to go off what Ted said there. In August, we were on 31 subscribers on YouTube, and it was getting to me a little bit. and I was like, we're not growing enough, and it's winding me up. And then within a week, we grew to 500. No, we grew to 200 because we did a video for 200 subscribers. And then from there, it's just grew, and now we're on 972. So I can only thank you all. I'm not going to name people because I'm scared I'll leave someone out. But you know who you are, coming to the lives every single week, or comment on videos, or like the videos, even watch them. You watch us talk shit. You watch me and John argue and think we hate each other, and we don't. I do really. But
I can mediate between them, the both of them.
You watch Ted sit on the fence up until this month, when I made him get off the fence because he was winding me up. You've seen us grow. The people that have been here from the beginning, like Desert Man and Sweet Sister, you've seen us grow from being on Spotify to this. So we appreciate every single one of you. Thank you very much. Like Ted said, have a nice Christmas. Enjoy yourselves. Get drunk. Eat food. Open presents. Be with your family. Be with your loved ones. We'll be back here on the 6th for WWE on Netflix. 7th for NXT on Netflix. And then I'll be on for Friday Night SmackDown with SmackDown on Netflix. Thank you very much. Love you all. Peace out. Merry Christmas. And one more thing to leave you with.
Yeet.